10 Gulfstream. This is Next Weather.
Well, when we show radar here at Fox 10, you may see us use the term velocity. And for more on what that does and how that product is displayed on radar, here's meteorologist Nicholas Herboso.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, it's a very useful tool that we have, velocity. As you can see, just a few examples behind me, a really cool thing to look at. And I want to kind of explain what you're looking at. I'm not going to go into the science of really how it works. I'm going to more explain how to read it and how you can interpret it there. So taking a look at a closer example here. This is actually one that was in Mobile. A couple things to point out. One of them, you see that black circle there. That is actually the radar site itself. It sends a little beam out and it can detect the particles that are in the atmosphere. In fact, that beam will spin around, as you can see animated there. And then you can see these colors. There's two colors that we use to display velocity. These are the direction that these particles that the radar is seeing are moving. Green is towards this dome, towards this radar site. And then red is away from this radar site. So when I put the arrows on to indicate the motion, you can see all these green particles are moving directly towards the radar. However, this is an interesting thing. When you look just to the right of the radar site right there, what do you see? It goes gray. That is because the interesting thing with velocity, it can only detect when the wind, the particles, are moving directly towards the radar. That means right at it. If it's moving perpendicular to that radar beam, you cannot see it. That's why we don't have any data there. So another interesting thing that you might see on this picture is that little bright spot that is there. That is actually a rotation signature. And you can see some strong winds moving towards the radar there. And that little blip of red going away from the radar, that's where that circulation is. Here's another example. This one's a more definitive example of a water spout that is approaching the eastern shore. This is from, let's see, 2022 in March. And you can see that little bright spot here. That little bright spot showing where there was some really tight rotation. The radar site's located in the upper corner there. You can see the beam spinning there. So all of this green is moving that way towards where the radar site is, that red moving this way away from where that radar site is. See how they're really close together right there? That's where the potential water spout was. And in fact, this one's a really good signature because you see how those colors are right on each other. The pixels are right next to each other. That's how we can tell that there is likely a water spout there. Here's a different example. This one's a bit of a trick one, and you might want to take a closer look at this one to see it. You see two areas that show some rotation, two areas where the pixels are really close together. So let's just go through this. Same spot, same place in Mobile Bay, radar sites over there, right in that top corner. So the green moving towards that. We know that the particles there are moving towards it. So you can see all these particles moving towards it. The red moving away from it, right here and right here. But you notice we have two bright spots there. And this is really interesting because these two bright spots are actually spinning in different directions. This little couplet right here, radar, particles moving away from the radar, particles moving towards the radar. We have a rotation counterclockwise. That's a cyclonic water spout, what we typically see. But then you see this one towards away. This is actually an anticyclonic water spout, something different. So this is a really cool radar shot. We actually caught this one. This one was, I believe, last year in our area. So some interesting things that we see. We will be showing this probably tomorrow. So just something interesting to look at, and you can kind of get a better idea how to interpret this interesting thing. These are shots that were taken on my phone just from various events in the past. Something very interesting to look at if you want to know more information about how to read that as we typically show them. Jason?
And here's our 7-day forecast. We may have to learn more about using those tools as we get into tomorrow. We'll be here for you to take you through it. If we do see anything that looks like an area of rotation on a radar, we'll be bringing that to you on Fox 10 News tomorrow. Storm Tracker Alert Day in effect through Saturday. We will spring forward with the clock Sunday, and we don't see any bad weather beyond that storm event. By Saturday afternoon, we clear out and looks good through the middle to the end of the week next week. Thanks for joining us for Next Weather.